Right. Hello, everyone. I'm live. Oh, we've got someone joining already. Sorry about the delay in coming live. I had the camera around the wrong way. Now, I am going to be joined by someone really amazing today, and we are going to talk to you about biohacking stem cells. So let me invite our special guest in. The wonders of technology. Let us know in the chat where you're joining from. We'd love to know. So today, this is a subject that's going to be so important. It worked, Stacey. It worked.
Hi. How are you, Catherine?
Well, I'd like to say I'm doing really well, but we've had so much rain here today that if we have any more, I'm going to be building an ark. But the only good thing is all the cats are in. I'm great. How are you doing, Stacey?
I am fantastic.
Oh, I'm so pleased you joined us today because you are one of my favorite people to speak to, because every time I speak to you, I learn so much. And one of the things that I've been seeing a lot for all of us, we're in a mad, mad world, Stacey. There's a lot going on. There's a lot being thrown at everyone, from the air, from the water, from the food, from the levels of stress. So talking about solutions to this is something that you and I are very passionate about. So before we dive deep into the subject matter, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and the work that you do?
Absolutely. So I have a PhD in integrative medicine and a PhD in functional medicine. So my whole life has been focused on holistic health and healing, nutrition as the foundation. I grew up where we had two massive gardens out back, and we played in the woods, and we swam in the lake, and we just lived in nature. And so that is why my PhDs are in the foundational components of holistic health and healing. And so my life has been that, basically living that lifestyle always. And through my journey with my daughter and what happened to her when she was a younger child, with a lot of different misdiagnoses and complications and one thing after the next, that really took my holistic health and healing journey much deeper in my quest to find anything and everything to help her through that journey. It was a 15-year journey, actually, Catherine, in her health. I mean, you name it. We tried it. We did it. We flew all over the country and out of the country doing different things to help her. And so I've really focused in on that foundational nutrition. Detoxification is key to vital health and life, and using nutritionals and supplements and things, tools in my toolbox as needed along the way. I've really spent the last 3 years focused in on a deeper level of regenerative medicine, using a technology that is very simple and easy, effective, and affordable to use, which is not very commonplace out there to find all of those wrapped up into one. But that's how you and I came in contact with each other a while back, was, my quest to reach the globe, to span the globe and help as many people as possible in this journey of recovering their health, because it's gotten very far out of control for most people. And so I focus in on a stem cell technology that allows people to be able to bring their body back into homeostasis.
I was so grateful to meet you, Dr. Staci, because I think we've got so many passions in common, because you've hit the nail on the head. And thank you for everyone who's joining us. We will be taking questions as we go through this live. But so many of us, I grew up, again, out in the countryside, out in nature, eating real food. I think I was 18 before I had my first takeaway. So, very, very different world to what we're all living in at the moment. And the problem is things are being thrown at people from every possible direction, and it's overwhelming for people to know where to start. And you and I know, and I think a lot of our listeners know, that everything is intrinsically linked. The way the body works and modern medicine, in terms of micromanaging every bit of the body, is not how the body heals, and it's certainly not how we heal. So looking for solutions that, first and foremost, in today's age, what really drew me to the Lifewave Patches was because I'd studied acupuncture, because I'd studied light therapy, I really got it straight away. But equally, one of the big things for me and a lot of my clients is do no harm. And there's a lot of suspicion about things being put into our bodies at the moment. So we're going to talk through how this is really safe for people, because we're not introducing anything into our body. But before we get deep into that, what is a stem cell, Staci? And why do all of us need to understand what a stem cell is, regardless of our age?
Well, Catherine, you have a sperm and you have an egg. They frolic and stem cells are created. And stem cells are what we call pluripotent. They are changeable. So obviously, you know, in utero, you have some cells that become heart cells, and some are kidney, and some are liver and brain and eyes and connective tissue and skin and hair. So those changeable cells, those stem cells, are what you came from. When that baby is born, we were all born at one point in time, we had those heart, liver, kidney, lung, all those cells stayed as they are. But some cells stayed pluripotent, changeable stem cells, to be able to help the body repair and regenerate, to go to different areas. For example, if you had something happen, maybe you broke your bone, right, in your leg, maybe you broke your leg, and then your stem cells in the bone would come out to help repair. Or maybe you fell down. I'm sure you guys had gravel when you were a kid growing up, and we did riding our bikes on gravel. You know, there were rashes all down these arms and knees. And so those skin stem cells would come up and they would repair that area. And so as we age, those stem cells get tired. They get worn out. They become what we call dormant. And by the time you're in your 30s, you have half of your stem cells that are still active. By the time you're in your 60s, there's literally less than 10%. So 90% of the body's ability to repair and recover and regenerate and heal itself has declined, and it's no longer functioning. And so that's why we really see that degeneration or aging process. Stem cells are the holy grail of healing.
Yeah, and I think most people have heard about stem cell therapy, and there are loads of different alternatives out there which come with different pros and cons. I heard a story, I won't mention their name, but from a very, very well-known naturopath that had stem cell injections, and it introduced contamination into their spinal cord with horrendous consequences. So a lot of the modern, that's why we're calling it biohacking, it can come with real challenges. You know, there can be some great gains, but some real challenges to some of the other methods of stem cells. What are some of the pros and cons of traditional stem cell therapy?
Well, I've actually done a lot of different types of stem cell therapy with my daughter over the years. We spent 4 months doing hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy. And that is where you actually get into a tank and it drops you down below sea level, compresses the air, pumps in 100% oxygen to hopes to heal the brain, the body, cause the stem cells to come out of the bone marrow to help repair. Extremely expensive, very time consuming. I mean, we only did a 4-month stint. I mean, it was all we could afford at the time. You know, with that, I wouldn't say there are any side effects or risks, except for, you know, especially when you have a child that's non-verbal. Luckily, Taylor could write. But if you do too much, you can actually cause neurological damage. And I read a huge book on it, a lot of research before we dove into that. And there are some side effects there of death, neurological problems or death if you're doing too much of it. Traditional stem cell therapies, number one, you're injecting. Anytime you enter the body, it's invasive. There are potential risks, right? Anytime a needle goes in, there could be any kind of infection or contamination mentioned. When you're injecting donor cells, there could be improper cell division. So those cells, we've heard horror stories of, you know, the stem cells go in and they go to the brain and they form heart cells and you die. You know, luckily we didn't have any of that. You have to be really careful working with a reputable doctor doing that, which we did, of course, but we did do stem cell injections from donor. We did, you know, pull your own blood out, put it back in, which is not a big deal if you're young. You know, my daughter was young at the time we did that. But if you're someone in your 50s, 60s, 70s, you're going to try to avoid a surgery and you pull your own blood out, spin it, centrifuge, you know, put it back in for your own stem cell benefit. those stem cells are old. They're worn
Yes.
out. They're tired. So it's not very effective. And it is painful. A lot of people talk about PRP, you know, in their elbows or their knees, and how painful that was, and how you need to go back over and over again. So you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars invested with no guarantee or no of results.
I know. This is the thing. I think it's so positive that people are looking at these different solutions now, but safety for me is always key. You know, we're used to now being very careful about how I say it, but being given a lot of misinformation. So the great thing is, with everything we recommend, there's so much research behind it and so much people can look into. So I've got one of these here, these amazing X39. These are my absolute favorite. And it's a tiny little patch, everyone. So how does this patch work, Staci?
Absolutely. So this patch is non-transdermal, which means nothing will be entering your body. It's sticky on one side and smooth on the other. So this is a wearable light technology. When I put this on my body, nothing is entering my body at all. You didn't see anything happen, did you? Did you see beams of light shooting from my chest? Nothing took place when we put this on. But I put this patch on, and my body's light that I emit, or the heat that I emit, is what is working with this patch for it to do its job. And so David Schmidt is the inventor of this technology, of the patch. All the patches. He's been inventing these for 20 years, so it's not new. It may be new to you, but this is not new as far as light therapy, light technology. You know, the light therapy has been around for thousands of years, but this actual patch company that David has invented and created, is the owner of, CEO of, is only 20 years old. We're celebrating our 20-year anniversary this year. So when I put this on in the morning when I get up, Catherine, I brush my teeth in the morning. I have my patches sitting right there by my toothbrush. I put my patch on, and immediately what happens is my body's light hits this patch. And what David has invented is a lattice structure that is reflective. So it hits the patch and reflects back a very specific wavelength of light. Now, you didn't see that happen, did you?
No.
No. So this is
Mm.
And so when that happens, what happens inside the body, that biochemical reaction, is actually an elevation of a peptide. And we know that peptides are thousands of peptides in our body, that we have to have them, right? They're chains of proteins, amino acids, the building blocks of our body. This activates a very specific peptide. It's called ghk-cu, copper peptide. And we don't really have a whole lot of time to get into all the benefits of GHK. I always have to recommend this book because it's just, you know, we're huge readers, aren't we, Catherine? We
I
read
love it. I never stop. Yeah.
So this book is written by a good friend of mine, Dr. John Harmon, and it's How to Reverse Aging with GHK. And it gives you a rundown of all the benefits of elevating this peptide because it declines as we age. We have cardiovascular benefits from elevating this. We have neurological benefits, muscular benefits. We have benefits with our sleep, with pain reduction. GHK is the fountain of youth. Okay, so we elevate GHK because it declines as we age. It's the fountain of youth. What happens, though, that's really remarkable is GHK actually resets a third of your genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. So up-regulating genes to perfection. That is a benefit of GHK. One of those genes is responsible for waking up your dormant stem cells, activating them, elevating them, mobilizing them, resetting them, getting them to go to work in your body like they did when you were a kid. Again, you don't see that or feel that, but that is happening the moment you put the patch on. So there's nothing entering the body. What David has invented is embedded in this patch. It does not enter in. It literally just reflects your own light back into your body in a specific wavelength. And that wavelength is what elevates the peptide and activates the stem cells and starts that chain reaction of healing inside of the body. The body knows how to heal itself. Okay, it does. Just like when you cut your finger, you break your bone. It's not the Band-Aid or the cast, it's the body. But we know the body's ability declines as we age. And so this says, come on, Let's do what we did when you were younger. Let's get that body back in balance. Let's get the things repaired, the organs, the cells, the tissues. Let's get the function of the body back in line. And actually, let's reverse. That's why this is how to reverse aging, reverse the functionality. We can see that in our studies, Catherine. David has done himself and many doctors and researchers around the globe over 90 clinical studies. We have double-blind, placebo-controlled, independent studies that are peer-reviewed that show that we elevate GHK in the blood. We activate stem cells. We have a 20-year patent on this patch. We're in year 4 of that 20. But that patent says you elevate GHK and you activate stem cells with this technology. So, you know, Catherine, there's been a lot go on in the last 4 years in our world, and a lot of misinformation and fake science and this and that. But again, know that this is 20 years old. Know that David was working in the lab for 10 years before the release of this X39 back in 2019. 20-year-old company, 10 years in the lab to figure out how to elevate GHK. The other patches, he could easily figure out what peptides to elevate to do what, to help bring the body into balance in those ways. But this is literally revolutionary. We are 20 years ahead of the game here. We have all the top doctors, right? I'm sure you've read their books or listened to their audios. They're all talking about stem cells. You see it in Tony Robbins' Life Force book that came out a couple years ago. I listened to Peter Attia talk about it in his book Outlive, and Dr. David Sinclair talking about it in Lifespan. You know, they're all talking about the power of stem cells, but they're only offering injections, which could be very expensive and controversial. And especially when you get into some of the cloning and the gene therapy, it's just really kind of scary out there. But know that we're not in that world. That's not our sector. We are focusing in on helping the body with light. And we are the power source. We don't need an outside light source. We don't need to worry about digestion or absorption or assimilation. We are bypassing the gut. We are bypassing everything. Light heals immediately. That's what happens. And there's a compound effect. So I want you to understand that for all the listeners. This is not a put a patch on and leave it on 12 hours, take it off, throw it away, and woo, everything from the last 20 years.
That's important. That's really important. Let's discuss that, because a lot of people, you know, even when we think we're really into the natural side of things and we understand we don't want to go down the big pharma approach, it can be a really hard transition for people that are used to taking a pill or a quick fix. But actually, that's not how our body works and repairs itself. And the other thing I wanted you to touch on, Staci, is the body has an innate ability to know what order it needs to heal or rebalance itself in. And this really works with that, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So the thing is that compound effect. So day one, you put the patch on, you probably aren't going to feel or notice anything. You may not feel or notice anything for a few weeks. When we look at our clinical studies, around that 3 to 6 week mark, people start to notice some pain reduction. They notice a better quality sleep, deeper REM sleep. They notice more clarity in their brain, the brain fog is lifted, more mental energy and focus. They notice more physical energy and a general sense of well-being, mentally, emotionally, like they're happier. They're not as worried or stressed. And we see faster wound healing happening right away in the first few weeks as well, too. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. That compound effect of activating your stem cells, it takes time to wake them all up. If you're in your 50s, it's going to take you 5 months to wake up those dormant stem cells. If you're in your 60s, 6 months, 70s, 7 months, and 80s and on, right? So we always say patch at least, and this is if you don't have a chronic issue, patch at least that 1 month for every decade you are old, to give your body that ability to go to work day in, day out, right? 12 hours on, take it off, throw it away, do it again 12 hours the next day. But when we look at the body's ability to heal itself, like you said, we don't direct our stem cells. This is not an injection where you say, oh, my shoulders hurt, I need rotator cuff surgery, I'm trying to avoid it, I'm going to go do a stem cell injection. You know, if you inject 2 million stem cells, you may end up with a couple 100,000. because of the inflammation coming in and consuming them. So this elevation of GHK, bringing down the inflammation in the process, and of course, you know, using Eon is going to really help expedite that recovery. But when we look at our body's ability to heal itself, it knows how to do that. So when you activate your stem cells with this technology, your stem cells will go to where you need it most first. You may say, oh, it's my shoulder, I need this to fix my shoulder. And your stem cells are going, I'm sorry, your liver's shot.
Yes.
We're going to have to go here and clean this up first. Then we're going to go to your heart, and we got to clean the cobwebs out of your brain. We'll get to your shoulder in a few months. And we can't know what's going to happen first. You know, I always tell people that sometimes they'll say, well, I don't feel anything. I'm like, well, you don't feel your hair growing, do you? You don't feel your blood flowing through your veins, thank God, every day. But those things are happening all day long. You don't feel a lot of things that are taking place in your body, but they are working. And when you give it time and you're patient, you'll check those things off your list. Just start checking them off the list, because your body will start to repair and regenerate itself. And that compound means boom, boom, boom. I just interviewed a girl earlier. We had a wellness webinar online, and she's a lady on my team. She's been patching now 3 years, just like I have. And she had her before and after picture. And, you know, she had a lot of health problems. Like, she had to go to the doctor every 3 months to get a CT scan and blood work for her diagnosis. And after 3 months of using the patches, the doctor's like, I don't know what's going on, but see me next year.
Wow.
I don't know what's going on, but see me next year. Now she has a 2-year clear. He said, I don't want to use the R word because this should never happen for you, but just see me in a couple years. And she looks incredible. And of course, her blood work and her scans are showing everything is perfect. Now, how does that happen? It didn't happen immediately. It happened over time as her body repaired and regenerated itself.
I love this. And there might be a lot of young people. Please do ask your questions in the chat. I'll keep an eye on them now from as we go on. That's why I've got my glasses on. But there might be a lot of young people in the chat. And I deal with a lot of people, Staci, and I know you do, where there's multiple issues going on. They're just not quite right. Their energy levels aren't on point. Their gut health, their stress levels are off the scale. Their hormone balances are off. So in terms of if someone's in that situation where there's multiple things that are a bit off going on for them, what would your message be to that?
Well, first of all, I would say clean up your diet. Clean up your diet, because if you that's your foundation, right? Your nutrition is your foundation. Get healthy, whole, real foods, okay, that you can grow or go outside and kill yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? Real foods that you know that are real, that are not full of toxins. That's your foundation. But of course, from there, when we're looking at patching, our X39 is going to support your body physically, mentally, emotionally. We're going to see improvements in the digestive system. That's pretty quick, because your gut lining is turning over so fast on a regular basis anyways. So again, that's why I say clean up the diet, start patching. You'll have huge changes in your gut, probably in a matter of a couple months, even maybe sooner than that, where you notice changes, which is of course going to impact your immune system too, which is really important when you start to look at that disease process coming in. But if you're young, patch with your X39, patch with the Eon. Eon brings down the anxiety, the stress, because it brings your nervous system into balance. It's also going to bring down inflammatory markers. And we know if there's any kind of diagnosis, anything's off in the body, you have inflammation. And because of the food and the environment, we all have inflammation. So bringing that down is vitally important for your body at a young age. I started when my son was 16, and he had nothing wrong with him health-wise at all. But I started him on X39 and Eon just for 30 days, just to kind of clean out the cobwebs, right? Just to make sure. And we are big on detoxing. He detoxes. So, you know, he has some problem taking the tinctures or the pills or whatever it is we're doing to detox. But I started him on those, and then I had him use glutathione. Glutathione is the master detoxer, master antioxidant and immune booster. This patch elevates your own glutathione. This is not an outside source. Those outside sources are gone. They're gone in minutes.
Yeah, the half-life so short of glutathione, isn't it? So
7 minutes.
Yeah.
So I had him use glutathione. I recommend that for all the young people. Just get the toxins out, help boost your immune system, help that gut, right? Clean it up. And then from there, really kind of just look at what are my needs. My son is staying on X39 and X49 and carnosine every day. He used to play basketball in high school. Now he's out of high school. He's big bodybuilder working out. So he uses 39 and 49 for performance, for oxidation, circulation, for recovery. He doesn't have any downtime. He's not sore. His muscles aren't sore. And he uses carnosine, of course, for the muscle, the benefit with the muscles and, you know, overall organ and brain health as well, too.
Yeah, I've seen huge with some of my clients that are really, really good professional athletes that are absolutely brilliant feedback on muscle strength, recovery, and we'll do a different one next week or the week after on weight. But we've got a good question here. Now, obviously, we're not allowed to make medical claims. We cannot make medical claims, but we've got a question here. Has this been shown to help fertility and help your mitochondria?
That's interesting. I had a conversation with a lady yesterday on Zoom in Australia about fertility. So we don't have any studies on fertility. We don't have studies on any type of syndrome or condition or disease. Our patches directly impact the mitochondria. That is your powerhouse, your ATP, that energy from the cells. And so that is that initial cell-to-cell communication. That's initially what's happening, is contacting the mitochondria and elevating that mitochondria and improving the function of the cell-to-cell and the energy output. So absolutely. That was actually David's first patch. And I'm speaking of the X39 right now. But that first patch was the energy enhancer, and energy enhancer was the patch that he created when he was working with the Navy SEALs and was contracted.
I love them. Yeah.
Yeah, he was contracted to help with their survival equipment, oxygenation, and they asked if he could help with the problem of the SEALs being on the amphetamines and uppers and caffeine. And that's when he invented 22 years ago the energy enhancer. And you know what I love about this, Catherine? So David's a scientist. He's a researcher. He's an inventor. He's invented a lot of things. But that patch that the SEALs used helped them to improve their quality of life, of course, come off the uppers and things and increase their stamina, endurance, and energy in the field. But after 9/11 happened here in the States, you know, the U.S. Department of Defense pulled out of that project, and so David was no longer needed, and he went to Stanford University. He went to Richard Quick, who's a 6-time USA Olympic swim coach, and he said, hey, I'd like to do some studies with your Olympian athletes, the female athletes you have, to see if what I saw in the field was really, really happening. I need data, I need science, I need proof. This is 22 years ago that this was taking place. So 2 years of studies before he even brought this to market to the world. So it's just, for me, it's very reassuring. It's very impressive to see these studies. And again, the energy enhancer was the first thing that impacts the mitochondrial function. It basically triggers beta oxidation, turns body fat into fuel. So that process inside of the body is just, it's mind-blowing.
We will definitely do one, because we get a lot of comments about people wanting to look at natural weight loss. So some of my key takeaways, Staci, are I love the fact that it's non-transdermal. This is so safe. It's working with your body's own recovery methods. It's really working with your own physiology, which in this day and age is so, so important for people. It's also something that is suitable for all age groups, because people are really wanting to start to take their health and back now. You can't make good decisions when you're physically struggling that much. In terms of, we're coming up to time now, so any other questions, let us know. But in terms of some of your real breakthroughs, what's really blown you away with these patches, with it particularly the X39? You know, if we're looking at what the challenges people are being faced with at the moment, what's really, Catherine, blown you away?
I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of people over the last 3 years. For me, I think the biggest thing is people that they don't have hope. They're not for sure where else to go, what else to do. They've tried every lotion, potion, cream, pill, surgery, and there's just no other option. They don't know what to do, which you would, just like Alicia said, her doctor told her, you won't be here in 10 years. She just passed her 10-year mark, and she's healthier than she's ever been in her entire life. That is why I'm here, because this gives people that hope that I can help myself, my family, in a way that's safe and affordable and effective and proven to be safe, effective, and affordable. 0 side effects or contraindications. That's huge for me.
It's massive. And, you know, I really think, I can't stress enough from my personal point of view, the thing is, when you start working with your body and seeing the power that it's got to regenerate, heal, bring itself back in balance when you give it the right inputs, it's so fantastic, and it opens up so many opportunities at whatever stage of life you're at. Yeah. So thank you so much to everyone that's joined us. Dr. Staci, absolutely love it. We will be back again next week. And I think next week we're going to be talking hopefully about stress. Oh, we've just got one final question if you've got time, Staci. Is it possible to increase GHK naturally?
No, you're going to need to inject it. That's the way to get GHK. It's a peptide. And of course, healthy lifestyle is going to be your, you know, your best prevention for all things, right? But the degeneration process is what it is. But you'll have to inject GHK, or you can do like we do and put the patch on in the morning and just go about our day and let it happen naturally the way the body intended it to be, which is without putting anything foreign into the body.
That's the biggie for me. Thank you so much for your great questions. Thank you so much for everyone that's joined us. Staci, I can't thank you enough, because since meeting you and introducing this, I've had some family members with some really serious challenges, and this has made such a difference to their quality of life and their recovery. So thank you so much for all you do, and we will be back, everyone, next week. Hope you enjoyed it.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Catherine.
Thanks, Staci.
Bye.